Hello, welcome to Romero Threads on YouTube, where it's all about embroidery. In today's video, I am going to digitize and stitch out the New York Knicks logo. And this is part 4 of a 10-part series that I have going titled Understanding Embroidery. And my goal for this 10-part series is to dive deep, not only the embroidery side, but the digitizing side. And being so comfortable to the point where it's easy to make any changes, any edits, and even digitizing any logo that's given to you. And in today's episode 4, I am talking about tracing and sequencing. These two skills really is like 90% of digitizing, is the tracing and then sequencing, which means putting everything in order. And I think in today's logo, it's a perfect example to showcase tracing and sequencing. Let's go ahead and get into the software. I am using Wilcom 2025. And any questions that you have regarding the software, I have the link up in the description. Also, if you have any questions, you could leave it down in the comments also. And to make life so much easier, I am using my Stream Deck. All my hotkeys are here in my Stream Deck, so I'm not really touching the computer. It's just my mouse and the Stream Deck here. So this is what's right in front of me. Okay, so you'll kind of see me just clicking buttons right here, but I have everything programmed here. All my hotkeys are just programmed here, so it just makes life a whole lot easier. Like I'm zoned in on the design and less of trying to figure out where everyth's at. Now, before I get started, I'm going to take some measurements here. So I'm at about 2.4, and then width, let's see, man, I'm at about 3 inches. And also, if I want to make any other type of measurement, usually before we start tracing, we got to know what is our maximum and our minimum stitch length. So here, like this one here, if I want to make this part of a ball, it's about 10.9 millimeters. So I might not want to do a sand stitch here. I might just do a fill stitch here. Text wise, let's see, this New York, I'm looking at about 5 millimeters. So it's all good. Looking about 3 millimeters. So it's looking all right. Now, before I start clicking and doing the tracing part, let's kind of think about this, okay? This is where, before we start clicking, this is really where our brain is going to start, like the gears of our brain is going to start grinding. We need to know what's going to stitch out first, second, third. So color-wise, we have the blue, we have the gray, we have the orange, we have the white. So our question is, where do we want to start? Where do we want to go second, third, fourth? And really, there is no right or wrong answer which way you go. So really, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna kind of space out. I'm just gonna start clicking, and even just looking at this logo, I could think of like 4 different ways I could stitch it out. But the way that I'm gonna go, a lot of it is just based off the final product. So this one here, I just want it to be kind of universal, where we could stitch it on a sweatshirt, on a backpack, on anything. If I were to stitch it on a hat, I'll probably go a different route than if I were to be stitching it on something flat. Really, if you understand how the whole tracing process works, digitizing is a breeze. So this is really, this episode here, episode 4, tracing and sequencing, that's 90% of digitizing. If you understand these two concepts, you're pretty much already 90% there. Everything else is just settings. Some of the stuff we just talked about in the first 3 episodes. Right now I'm just tracing. I'm not thinking about the sequencing completely. It's probably in the back of my mind, but I'm gonna save the sequencing to the very end. So right now, just look at me kind of click, 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 trace, 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 trace. So I'm gonna start with this complex fill, and here it gives me the definition of a complex fill. It says digitize fill shapes with a single stitch angle. So I'm going to trace this outer part, this blue. So I'm tracing this blue. You can see how this is a straight line, right? So let's zoom in right here. You see how this is a straight line? I don't have to click or do any clicks here until I get to the next corner. Now, our goal when we are tracing is to have the least minimum clicks possible. So a straight line only requires 2 clicks, the beginning and the end point. So we click there. We have another straight line up here. So we look for the next corner and we click there. Then we go to this next corner. Click here. Then we go to the next corner, right? So right now, the tracing is like elementary right now. There's nothing difficult about this part right here. This white part, this white border that you see, that's gonna be on top of this blue. So really, I don't have to get this, like you see this little corner here. I don't have to get this small detail here because I'm gonna get that detail with the white. So I'm just gonna take it up to here, this corner. All right, I'm just going from corner to corner right now. Put my stitch angle. So let's put my stitch angle here. Put it 15 degrees. Enter. Start, stop. Put my start here. Somewhere right there. All right, looks like this right now. We can make it blue. And the big question is, this is the big question right now. Should I have made a hole in between the letters? Right. So where we see that blue, should we have made a hole where my orange letter is going to be? And really, if we try to save stitches, you're not going to save stitches. You're going to actually add more stitches. I'm just going to stitch on top of this blue right here. I got a clean base right here. I'm just going to stitch the text right on top of this blue. So I can hide this blue for right now. Hide now. Let's do the Knicks text. So I'm going to use my column B. And definition of column B: digitize columns of turning stitches where opposite sides are different. So really, column B, the reason why I like it, it's less thinking when you're tracing. So I'm going to do one side. I'm going to trace one side, push enter, then I'm going to trace the next side. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here on this K, I'm doing this inside part. So these are all straight lines right here. See that? Bam, enter. Now I'm going to do the opposite side. These are all straight lines, so make it color black right now so we could kind of see what we're working with. I'm going to adjust the stitch angle. So we're putting Control H and bam. So like about here, I want my stitches to look straight. Alright, so cool. So far, nothing too crazy, right? Let's do this part of the K. And we're going to talk about something called combining objects together, which is going to be very important. So you're going to see what I'm going to do here. My goal here is to try to have my stitches going from left to right. Alright, that way, when we stitch it out, this area right here, this whole area, it's gonna kind of intersect each other. So we want like a clean blend when they're intersecting each other. So here, remember with column B, I'm just doing one side first, then second side next. Alright, let's talk about sequencing right now. Okay, even before, eventually at the very end, I'm gonna start sequencing everything. But right now is a perfect time to talk about sequencing. So when we're doing this K right here, like if we were to keep it like this, it would look kind of ugly, right? Because we have this part of the K kind of overlapping, so it's not really blended very smoothly. So what I'm trying to do, you got to start thinking, what do you want to stitch first, second, third? So here I want to go with this one first, and then I select this one, then this one. So I select them in the order that I want to go with, and then I push this one, sequence by selects, and this is going to rearrange things according to how I clicked each one in order. So when I click it, bam. Now, right, now you can see this long part is going to stitch out last. And one thing that we can do, that I like to do, especially if you've been following this channel, you know how much I like branching. Like I'm the #1 fan of branching. So we could select all these three. So 0 underlay right now. So we're going to use the power of branching. The hotkey is I, or you can find it here where it says branching. And here it has the definition, automatically sequence the group like embroidery object. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna use brain power from the software. And right now we have 3 objects and it's gonna turn it into 1 object. All right, so right when I click on it, bam, I clicked on it and the software just asked me a question. So bottom left is asking me a question. Enter entry point. So where do we want to start? I know that I want this long part to be the last part to get stitched out, and I want this part to be first. So I'm gonna say, hey, let's start on this corner right here. Then it's gonna ask me, where's your exit point? So I'll say here, end it here. Okay, bam. I did all the thinking right now. Now, I don't have any underlay. So this is how it looks right now. It just kind of has running stitches. I do want to add some underlay. So what I'm gonna do, so here for the underlay, I'm gonna treat it by shape. So I want the software to recognize this K, not like 3 objects, but as 1 object. So if I put by shape, so let's push this replay. So it's gonna put this edge run as a 1 shape. It's looking at the object like 1 shape. I'll put a second underlay, and really I just put a center run. I think a center run's good. Okay, I'm cool with that. Let's see how that's gonna look. So when we do it, it does the edge run, bam. Then it's gonna do the center run, bam. And then it's gonna start stitching out. Bam. It's gonna find like the most efficient way to combine these 3 objects. All right, bam. And then it's gonna end right where we want it. Now for the rest, now let me just digitize real quick. NICKS. Okay, bam, so we got the letters. I'm gonna worry about the sequencing at the very end. Okay, so for right now, bam, we're looking all right. Now let's add some of these details.